Welcome back to the Sitting Duck, a Town of Duck podcast. My name is Kay Nickens, and I'm the Public Information and Events Director for the Town of Duck. And I'm very excited because we have a great piece of exciting news to share with you. And to do that, we have Gray Berryman, president of the First Flight Track Club, here with us. So that being said, let's fast forward, get your mind set in November, and I'm actually going to let Gray do the honors and tell you what our exciting news is.
Well, Kay, we are super excited to bring back the Duck Turkey Trot for 2025.
So excited. I know people have been asking for years, and we'll kind of get into the timeline of the return of the Turkey Trot, but we are so excited. This is brand new development. This happened a couple weeks ago at the Town of Duck Council meeting, the March 5th meeting. So again, we'll get into that. But before we begin, Greg, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? So you're president of the First Flight Track Club, but what else do you do outside of that?
Well, I live in Southern Shores. I'm the father of four and married to my wife, Allie. And I've been a real estate agent at Carolina Designs for 22 years now. And I love to run. I like to surf. I like to paddle. I like working with kids. And we started the First Flight Track Club this past year because we saw a need for a boosters club for runners. I got seriously into running about 7 years ago. I'd run track and cross country in high school, and it was a good thing to do. I was never super competitive with it. And then about 7 years ago, I found running again, and since then have been an almost daily runner. So my journey these past 7 years has been great. Done several marathons, been involved with some training groups, and at this point, I am very invested in coaching. Helped coach the cross country team at the high school, and am now one of the coaches with the track team at the high school. So that's kind of my history and background as a runner, but just it's a great thing to be able to be outside every day, and makes a lot of people happy.
So when you say you've done several marathons, tell people a little bit, they might not know or be familiar with the distance associated with marathons. When you say long distance, what are you talking about?
So a marathon is 26 miles, and to do that safely, you need to have a plan and train for that and build up mileage slowly, so that you can be successful at that distance and not get hurt.
But don't fear, because the Turkey Trot is not 26 miles. It is a 5K. So, and that is 3.1, correct. So it's much more accessible, but some people might argue that a 5K is the most challenging.
It really depends on how you approach it. The 5K is super accessible if you walk or jog slowly, but you can also approach the 5K from a competitive standpoint. And just like with the marathon or any other distance, have a training plan for 3 or 4 months prior, with that being the target race, and really make it fast and competitive. Generally, on a turkey trot, you're competing with yourself. It's not known as uh, a competitive event for top runners, but certainly over the years, I've had a good time trying to improve the time year after year at the turkey trot.
So just out of curiosity, with all of your experience coaching with many different age ranges, what's the fastest you've seen someone run a 5K?
I guess personally, if you take out the races that are in Greensboro or like the Adidas Nationals, we've got an indoor facility in Virginia Beach where top nationwide talent shows up. But even at the track series we did last year, one of those races in right here in Kill Devil Hills, we the first race, it was a mile, and there were two runners who were in the 4:40 range, and then there were other runners who did the mile in 10 minutes or more. So what is fastest is really I'm 51, so fast for me is very different from fast for the 16-year-olds that I coach. And, there's a male and female difference, and runners who have been running for 2 months versus runners who have been running for 5 years.
Right.
It's
It's not so black and white. There are a lot of different factors.
Right, and that's what makes it fun and keeps it interesting for every runner. It's more, where are you in relationship to your potential than absolute top speed.
I like that perspective. But a 440, that is remarkable. What humans are capable of, that's incredible.
I can introduce you to these humans, and it's interesting that distance runners especially, and runners who train, you have to be very focused. So it can become all-encompassing in a good way. So your sleep schedule, what you eat, your stress levels, when you train, how you recover, everything you do, depending on how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go, you can revolve your whole life around your target race. And in general, most of those decisions about living a healthy life, living an athletic lifestyle so that you do well on your target race correlate directly with doing well with every other endeavor in life.
Mhm.
So I feel super lucky to be able to work with distance runners who are at the top of their game. And I see the dedication that, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds have. And it makes me very hopeful because that carries through with their studies, it carries through with their approach to college. And it's like, yeah, we've got a bright future. There's some brilliant, motivated kids, and I get to work with them. So I'm grateful for that.
That's awesome. And it shows through. And I kind of want to segue into a little bit more about the First Flight Track Club, because how long has the track club been around for now?
So the seeds for the track club were started about a year and a half ago, and we formally were incorporated in June of 2024. And we got off to a great start. Our mission is to be a boosters club to raise funds for youth athletics, specifically running in Dare County. And we also want to grow the sport. So, in addition to raising funds to support athletes, we want to bring more athletes, more students into the running world. So that's our dual mission. We're not a track club that holds practices, but our signature event last year was the Summer Track Series. So Thursday nights, we did it 4 different times, turned the lights on, got the music going at the track at the high school, and had all comers races. And we had anywhere from 4 to 8 races, and over 100 people would show up. A very casual, old school vibe that was just good, wholesome fun. So we're definitely doing that again this year. Our dates for that will be released soon. And we built on that success, and we hosted a race over Thanksgiving weekend in 2024. And we just did a trail race over President's Day weekend in Kitty Hawk. Our board puts on these races to bring more runners in and also to raise funds so that we can provide scholarships to runners and help facilitate the cost of the sport. Just like everything, in one sense, running is super simple. Grab a pair of shoes or go barefoot and run. But if you are competing training on a daily basis and competing at the highest levels, which is where we want some of our runners to be, it does require financial support. So that's where the track club steps in.
Right. And you've talked about the different events and programs, and I think it's great. Again, I said a word earlier, and it kind of encompasses everything that you do, but you make it accessible, and you're a tool to facilitate people who are passionate about running and maybe people who just want to get into that. So if someone was wanting to join the club, who's eligible? Who can do that?
So everyone is welcome at all of our races, and that's the best way to come to one of our races and come participate, come help out with the logistics of putting the race on, and mostly that's being there and being supportive. For the turkey trot, we definitely need volunteers, and we are working on getting that structure set up to determine where we need volunteers and getting the communication in place so that it's a well-oiled machine. We're not there yet. In about a month, we will be able to tell people exactly we need you here, here, and here, and have people be able to sign up so that they have a fantastic volunteer experience, and we are using our volunteer time well. We're very conscious. We don't want to waste people's time. We want them, if they're going to spend time donating time or money to the cause, that we're going to appreciate and care for that resource.
Hmm. The town has signed on as a co-sponsor, so I'm sure once that becomes available, we'll assist in getting that information out to make sure that you guys can get as many people involved. And I don't know if anyone has ever volunteered at a race, but it's a great experience. Even if you don't run, you get such a high from seeing everyone. And I don't know, it's a very inspiring environment.
Absolutely. Normally, I'm a competitor. Um, this past year, we had started thinking about like, yeah, we should do that turkey trot. So I went to Nag's Head and was a volunteer, and then I actually got to race too. But that experience of helping people and asking questions and looking at the race from an organizer standpoint, it is super fun. It's a new twist on what's still a really, really great thing to do.
And that's kind of a good segue into my next question. How long have you, well, I guess you guys are relatively new, so how long has the turkey trot kind of been on your radar? Like, did you start the track club with that on the horizon as far as events to maybe do, or when did you start thinking about there's an opportunity there, let's see what we can do with it?
So we started the track club with that dual mandate to raise funds and to provide accessible events. Over the summer, we had, those 4 races that were a big success in terms of participation. We got some top runners, a couple of vacationers, and a lot of the elementary, middle school, and some high schoolers. So on that standpoint, it was a big winner. The reality of putting on a race, getting insurance, having the things that go along with it. I mean, just a race clock is $1,000. So to, level up the race, and we want to make it accessible. So we were taking donations. So those races were break even at best. So, we started thinking at the end of the summer, well, how do we do a race that actually raises funds for the cause? And then when the turkey trots were all sold out, Matt's race in Kerala, which is outstanding, the Go Far race in Southern Shores, which I've run 4 or 5 times, very well run, the Nag's Head race, and I think even the Avon race, all 4 of the Outer Banks turkey trots were sold out weeks ahead of time. So we saw that and it was like, okay, there's a market opportunity. There are people who want to run on Thanksgiving morning that do not have the ability to run. And as you know, Kay, like people have really missed the duck turkey trot. So it's like this could all work out.
Right.
That's so the seed was planted end of summer when we really understood the finances of starting a race, and then when everybody sold out weeks ahead of time, that's what really got us thinking.
And you bring up a good point that this has been an event heavily missed by the community. And let's kind of put a pin in our conversation because if you're not aware, the Turkey Trot was an event hosted by Advice 5K, which was the Advice 5 cent bed and breakfast that former council member Nancy Cavanis,
She
she was
did
all of it.
she did everything, and Nancy set such a high bar. That part following in her footsteps is actually a little bit intimidating, because I know Nancy well. She's been a past client and a friend, and she she just put on a first class race for 25 years, and we have her blessing. I'm actually meeting with her tomorrow with her on the board so that we can go over again best strategies to put on a race that's at the same production level that she did. And even just over the last 4 years, the technology has changed. Nancy now works with a company called Run Sign Up, which provides race management software. So we're super excited to be able to use the tools in that to communicate with participants, communicate with volunteers. It's uh, it's very different than some of the other races where we do hand signups in the rain and are holding stopwatches. This is a whole different level of professionalism, and Nancy's our partner there to help make sure that we're using all the tools that make sense.
And to be clear, the reason the race, the turkey trot here in Duck had, I don't want to say stopped, but it paused because it's come back. But the reason that it did pause for that time was because Nancy had moved on to work for Run Sign Up. So it's definitely always, I get the feeling that the wheels never stop exactly turning because there's always been so much interest. It was just a matter of time. And I think it's great that you guys are stepping up to bring it here and to keep it going. And how great is it that you still have Nancy kind of in your back pocket there to help make it an excellent event. And I unfortunately never was able to run. We were, we travel at Thanksgiving, but I'm going to make it a point this year because I think it's going to be a great event. And yeah, I'm super excited. And thanks to Nancy. And I'm really excited to see how her involvement helps this event, not only sustain that level of support that, the community gives it, but also how much it can grow and excel. And it'll be great to see that blossom. So the actual route, it's only 3.1 miles, and I know some people hear only and they're scoffing, but 3.1 miles. And where's the route going to be? Where's the start?
Okay, so the start and finish, we're gonna move that to Scarborough Fair. We've got the under the trees right there on the Scarborough Fair by Christopher Drive is a great place that we can gather a lot of people before and after. And Scarborough Fair is very excited to host and have us there, as are the restaurants that are right there. So that will be the start line. And then the course is going to go down Christopher toward the ocean. We'll make a right on Ocean Way, come back west on Scarborough Lane. We'll pass Advice 5 Cents on the left. Then we'll make a right on Duck Road. And then from there, the course is essentially the same. Go down Duck Road, through Schooner Ridge. We'll hit the Chip Court to make the distance right. And then we'll come back and finish at Christopher and Scarborough Fair again. So it is essentially the same course. And it's a great course. It's got a couple of hills, and it's not an out and back. We've got basically two loops. And the other thing is our runners and our volunteers and emergency services, everybody's familiar with the course. So even if we wanted to reinvent the wheel, we don't have to. This course works great, so we're excited to do that.
Right. And it's nice too that you do get to go essentially sightseeing through Duck, with a short little run, and you kind of see a little bit of the community.
I've run the course 5 times, I think, in the last 4 weeks, and it's super fun. It's a great workout. Some days I'll just go run it twice, and the the hills they're real hills. So
And a
you
lot
know,
of people don't think about the beach having hills, but they're very much here. They might not be mountainous, but when you're running, hills are hills.
we are so lucky here. Like in Kitty Hawk on the beach road, you have flat as a pancake flat, which is great for time trials and getting good time, especially if you run downhill or downwind. We've got incredible trails in Kitty Hawk Woods and the Nag's Head Woods and the hills of Duck and Southern Shores. I mean, if it's hill day, yeah, you come to Duck or Southern Shores because we've got great hills that, they'll give you all the challenge you need.
I'm intimidated by those, not even going to lie. So, where can people sign up? Do you have that available yet? Or I know this is so new, so you're probably still in the production stages of getting that information all available, correct?
Correct. We'll open registration up on August 5th at noon, and we'll promote that heavily. It will be, the town of Duck will have that information. We'll have that information at fftrackclub.org. That's our website. That will also soon have information about our upcoming summer track series. If anybody's here this summer and wants to come have fun there at the high school track. And that website also has more information about us, what we do, and a link to donate.
I guess will the same process kind of follow for volunteer signups as well? I know we talked on that a little bit, but
Yes, our volunteer sign up will go live way before August 4th. We'll get those teams of volunteers. We've got several different areas where we need volunteers: packet pickup, pre-race setup, on course during the day to keep people safe, and then a post-race takedown. We're going to have one heck of a party there at Christopher at Scarborough Fair. So organizing that party, that's going to be fun, and then the party's going to be a blast. And we're super excited because we know how much the duck community supports this cause. We're all volunteer. All of the funds go towards our nonprofit mission. We're a registered nonprofit, and between the businesses that will sponsor the race and the runners, and Nancy worked with the Outer Banks Community Foundation, and we're partnering with the Outer Banks Community Foundation as well, so that we can make this very successful for the community and also for the students that we support. It's as a coach, we've got a whole spectrum, not only of runners at different speeds and different experience levels. We've got a whole spectrum of runners and economic backgrounds. Some of our runners need for nothing. Others come from, they come from homes that have economic need. They come from homes that are single parent or no parent. And we want to make sure that those students feel that they have every chance to succeed in this endeavor. And that's really why we do it. There's a mental health crisis in our entire nation, and that's especially true here. When you come and stay in Duck, you may not see it because Duck is in a little bubble. But if you go down the road and you hang out at the school, then you very much see it, because we're a community that's very working class, very service oriented, and we've got families and students that don't have all of the advantages that our visitor and owner population does. So it's really great that visitors and owners can come together, and we can help work on this issue together.
hmm And do you have a lot of your students that participate in the turkey trot, or do you anticipate them participating?
So getting high schoolers to do anything is difficult. And I say that as a parent of an 18 and a 15 and two 13-year-olds. I've got four teenagers living under my roof right now. Um, our students, our middle school and high school students, have been fantastic at showing up and coming out for our events. The We try to time our events so that they're between seasons. If you ask a competitive high school runner in October to come to a 5K, if it's not for their team or for a state meet or for one of the super competitive races that are in Charlotte, Raleigh, or Virginia Beach, they're not going to show, because their training plan and their goals are oriented around state championships and national rankings. So, Thanksgiving does come at a time after cross country season and right at the start of indoor track season. So yeah, we'll get some of our student runners out here for the turkey trot for sure. And I'm always so proud when they show up, even if they're not running their best time. And that's one thing. Like, when you're a runner, you can't run every race full speed. And it takes a while for some people, me included, to understand and accept that it's okay. You get, depending on the distance, if it's a marathon, you get 1 or 2 marathons a year. If it's a 5K, you get there's a certain number of 5Ks that you can run really well before you need to switch differences or take a down cycle.
And just to be clear too, though, we've talked a lot about running, but people, if they're interested in participating, they're welcome to walk, right?
Oh, absolutely. We anticipate that, with a turkey trot, it seems like half the people walk at some point, and that's the thing. This is not a high it can be a highly competitive race. We'll have some runners in the 15-minute or maybe below mark, but there will be plenty that, take over 50 minutes. Now, if it at some point, hour and a half, like, we're gonna cut it off. Like, if you're gonna walk, you need to walk at some normal pace, but, the beauty of the turkey trot is that families can do it together, and, if it's 30 minutes and you're 3 years old, well, that's a big accomplishment. We celebrate that. So come on.
That's a great thing too. A lot of people come here with their families during Thanksgiving, and what a way to give back to the community while knowing that you're doing something good for the community, but also yourself. Moving is a privilege, and even just walking, running, no matter what you do. What a great way to participate in the community.
Absolutely, and Thanksgiving, I mean, it's the best holiday in the year. It's a day to think about gratitude. We're here together with our families, and to have everybody go get 3.1 miles under their belt, that's just kind of a perfect way to start the day, whether that happens at a slow speed or a fast speed. It's gonna be a great time.
And it'll make your Thanksgiving dinner just that much better.
Absolutely.
So, if anyone was looking to get involved, kinda let's think about, maybe a first time turkey trot participant or even just anyone looking to get involved into a 5K run or walk. What would you give them as a piece of advice?
So anyone can go walk a 5K. Just sign up for a 5K or find 3 miles and go do the distance. If it's your first time running, what I would suggest is go for a run for a mile, and if it starts to hurt, stop. You have permission to walk. But, if you're at the beginning of your running career and you want to be a runner, the thing to do is to run a little bit, walk a little bit, run a little bit, walk a little bit. The biggest thing we see with new runners, whether they're high school or middle age or older, is we want to ramp up our mileage and our intensity slowly and predictably. It's not okay to just go off the couch and go run 10 miles. That's going to lead to some sort of overuse injury. So you know your body, feel it. And if running a mile is a big challenge, then walk a mile or walk a mile. Do that first. If you're for my high school students who have not run before, what we want to see is run walk 2 miles a day for 6 days, if that's accessible, and then we slowly move up. There's a what's called the 10% rule. We don't wanna go 10% more per week. So week 1 is 10 miles, week 2 is 12 miles, week 3 is 14 miles, and we don't wanna increase the distance of any run more than 10%. So if your longest run in length is 5 miles, the next longest run in length should be 5.5, and slowly ramp up your weekly mileage and your longest run, no more than 10%. And of course, every rule is made to be broken, but that's a good general guideline to keep people safe.
And there's plenty of time to start thinking about that. It's how long would you say someone needs to adequately prepare and train?
If you are thinking about running, you need to go do that today. Like, we all have limited time on earth, and if you want to be a runner, be a runner. Let's get started on that journey now. If you want to get a training plan where you're gonna try to get your best time at the 5K, I would start that structured training plan about 12 weeks out. You can do it in 8 weeks. You can do it in 4 weeks. But 12 weeks to target a time for a 5K, that's a good number.
And I'm going to go off quote unquote script a little bit here, but we've talked a lot about running, and it's very clear you're very passionate about it, and it's something that is a big part of your life. Can you tell our listeners, what does running mean to you?
Well, my journey with running, I replaced drinking on a daily basis with running on a daily basis. So for me, it it is. I mean, it's an addiction. I love it. It is a great way where I can control my neurochemistry. I can get up, go for a run, feel good for the rest of the day. And it's a very powerful way to, uh, personally, it makes me happy. So I see that with others as well. And then the community that surrounds running and the whole idea of self-improvement, achieving faster times or achieving, a longer run. But basically, there's an inherent self-improvement plan that goes along with the mindset of a serious runner. And by serious, I don't necessarily mean fast. But if you are, I'm going to take this hobby, I'm going to take this endeavor and give it a good shot. That's going to translate into good things happening in other areas of life, whether it's the habits that are built, the decisions that are made, or the physiological benefits that make us better people. That's one of the things that running can do for individuals. It can happen for an entire team where if you suffer together, your bonds are stronger. So yesterday we had track practice. It was 50 degrees and it was raining. Some of the runners were less than happy to be there. And we had a hard workout. We did the workout. We were all standing in the rain. Actually, the two coaches were standing in the rain. The runners were running very fast in the rain. At the time, they may or may not have been thrilled with the situation. Once they got home, got a shower, and knew that, and warmed up, and knew that they had done their work on Monday, so that tomorrow's race will be good and the rest of the season will be good. There's a sense of accomplishment. There's a sense of fulfillment that comes with that. That I am the type of person who does what needs to get done to achieve this goal, even if conditions aren't perfect. So that challenge, that exposure to adversity, I think that's healthy for humans. So yeah, I love it. How long do you have? Because we keep going.
You wax poetic about it. Yeah, I mean, it's so much more than hitting pavement, that sense of accomplishment. You hit the nail on the head there, and just the ambition that you get, and it does kind of trickle out into, and I say this, I'm definitely nowhere near your scope of ability, but me being a hobbyist runner as well, like you do see that start to trickle down into other aspects of your life. And it's so much more than, you put on a pair of sneakers and you just go and you just try, and all of a sudden, you see all these different effects in your entire life. So it's really inspiring, and I hope that people feel inspired listening to this conversation and come out on Thanksgiving and do a little 5K with us to celebrate the return of the turkey trot. That being said, we've covered a lot here, but do you have any final messages or anything else you'd like to add?
Well, Kate, thanks so much for doing this and having it. We're super appreciative to the town of Duck for supporting this, and just, super appreciative that we've got the ability to do it. So it's going to be a great day, a great opportunity for everybody to come out, be with their family, bring the costumes. We've got a fantastic T-shirt planned. The swag bag will be stocked. So all the great things that people love about the Duck Turkey Trot, we're gonna, our main goal is to stick the landing, have a great race, have a good time, and have everybody super excited to come back year after year going forward.
It's gonna be a great time, and Gray mentioned August 5th is when registration opens, so keep an eye out for that. We'll put the word out on our platforms, and if you are interested in learning more, you said the website is fftrackclub.org, correct?
Yes, and you can contact contact us through there for if you want to get early on the sponsorship. We definitely need sponsors, so that's the best place to contact us is through the contact page on that website.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. I'm really excited. It's going to be a great event. Can't wait to see how this event continues to evolve and grow over time. So thank you
Great.
a lot. It's been great.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to the Sitting Duck podcast. Make sure you like the episode, subscribe so you know when the latest episodes come out, and share it on your social media so more people know about it. And for the latest on what's happening in the town of Duck, visit ducknc.gov.